Oh, goodness, I got to catch my breath after that. That was a long one. So we've just found out the derivative of the sine of x function is the cosine of x function. And again, this relation requires us to be measuring x in radians for that to work. Now, let's also talk about the cosine function. Its derivative of the cosine function is going to be equal to minus the sine of x. Now, I don't want to repeat that whole trigonometric limiting argument again. You can do that if you really want to. Instead, I want to try graphing both of those functions. So I'll start with y equals the cosine of x. Here it is in blue. Now I'm expecting the derivative of my cosine function to tell me about the slope of my blue curve. So what am I saying? Everywhere that my tangent line is horizontal, let's draw in some tangent lines real quick. Ooh, in purple, this is a tangent line to all of these different crests of my wave. How convenient. So at all of these coordinates, x equals negative 2 pi, x equals 0, x equals 2 pi, and so on, my derivative function should have a value of 0, right? A 0 slope means a horizontal tangent line. And likewise, I can put in a y equals -1 to get my tangent lines down here at the bottom. I'm also expecting a 0 slope at the coordinates -3 pi, minus pi, plus 3 pi, and so on. Between these two coordinates, x equals minus pi and x equals 0, my derivative function should have a positive value, right? My function is increasing the derivative. The slope should be positive. Between 0 and pi, my function is decreasing. My slope should be negative. My derivative should be negative. So let's compare this to the sine function, y equals sine of x, like so. My sine function is in red, okay? And my sine function is 0 in all of the right places. Very good. So in the places where I have a horizontal tangent line, again, right? So x equals 2 pi, x equals -2 pi, sorry. My sine function is 0, just like the derivative is supposed to be. And here, I have a horizontal tangent line. X equals -pi, sine of pi, and sine of -pi is 0. But the problem that I see, between -2 pi and -pi, the cosine function is decreasing. That means a negative slope. That means a negative derivative. But between these two different coordinates, my sine function is positive, not negative. So that means my sine function can't be the derivative of my cosine function. Now let's flip the sign, S-I-G-N, and see what we get. Well, all of those zeros stay in the same place. Very nice. Did I fix my slope problem? Again, between -2 pi and -pi, the cosine function is decreasing. It should have a negative slope, which is to say a negative derivative. And now, between those two x coordinates, the sine function is, in fact, negative. So, short and simple, the derivative of the sine function is the cosine function. However, the derivative of the cosine function is minus the sine function.